Hi, welcome to my shop. So I figured I was in need of sharpening my planer blade today, and I figured I would just put together a short video and show you guys the process I use. There's a lot of different ways that people do it. Some people do it freehand. I'm not that good. I require mechanical assistance. So I'm using the woodpecker sharpening system, which just helps me get the angles right so that I can get an accurate sharp. So for this blade, the nice thing, the system comes with this little tool where you can measure the angle. So typically all your blades are going to have two angles. This one, the primary angle is 25 degrees, and usually you put a secondary angle 2 degrees more, 27 degrees on it. So in order to do this, what I do is I'll put the blade in the holder here, and we'll just snug that down. And then I've got this preset at 25 degrees. There's marks on here with the different degrees, and you adjust it back and forth. So you set this in the tool here, and you put the blade right up against the front here and then lock it down. And what that does, when that's locked down, is that's going to give you a perfect 25 degree angle when you lay this on the stone like this. And I'm using sharpen stones. This is a 1,000 grit. It's actually not a stone, it's a plate. And then this is a 16,000 grit stone. So it's important to keep your stones lubricated, and water would rust the metal. So I use this product called Hone Right, which I put inside the water to keep it from rusting the metal. So you just put some even pressure here and just roll this thing back and forth. If you sharpen frequently, you shouldn't have to do this as long. So typically I sharpen after about 30 minutes and 30 minutes of use, which tends to keep the blades relatively sharp. So it's important too to shift your blades around from time to time, or your stones around, so that you're wearing the stones evenly. And I'll do this for about 30 seconds or so, and then I'll switch over to the 16,000 grit stone. And usually you can tell when you're making good progress, because you'll get a little bit of you'll feel a little bit of a tug on the bottom of the blade here. So we'll do this for a couple minutes, or like I said, about 30 seconds or so, and then we'll switch over to the other stone. And then when we're done, we're just going to do the secondary bevel on the other stone there. So I'm going to record the whole thing so you kind of have a real-time feel for how long it takes. I've yet to build a permanent station where I can do this without having to set up on my workbench, which is something I've got to get done because it'll save me time. Okay, so that's pretty good for the primary bevel. So now we'll come over here, I already sprayed this, and we'll hit this guy up on here. And you'll see, you want to keep the pressure even. Okay, let's see how that looks. I don't know if it's hard to see. Yeah, looks like we're doing pretty good. All right, so one of the things that I like to do in between the first and the secondary bevel is I use this rule. It's good to keep the stones flat too. The bottom of this stone is a 300 grit, so it's good to keep your stones flat. So I tend to do that from time to time just to keep it good. And I use a ruler trick, and this is just to keep the back. Actually, I should have started with this, but I don't, just to remove any burrs, I just do a nice quick little run on that like that. Okay, so now that that primary bevel is done, we'll adjust this thing for the secondary bevel. So we'll set this to 27 degrees. So I move this down to 27 degrees, we'll put the blade back in. And we'll get the secondary bevel. And on this one, I'm only going to do it on the 16,000 grit stone. I'm not going to do it on the 1,000 grit stone. And just do it for a few seconds just to get that second edge on there. And usually, like I said, if you maintain the blade regularly, that should be about all it takes. So what we'll do here is we'll get this blade loaded up in the plane, and then we'll give it a test run off a piece of wood. I'll show you how it works. Be right back. Okay, we got our blade all installed. First thing I'm going to do is I usually take a little bit of wax. There's all kinds of plain waxes out there you can get. Believe it or not, I just use a votive candle. It works fine. Heck of a lot cheaper too. So we'll see how this thing does. The nice thing about the wax is the wax lets the tool do the work instead of you having to put muscle behind it. So as you can see here, get a nice even shaving. A little bit of a thick cut, but that's okay. That's what I was looking for. Nice even shaving. So it's not breaking apart, which tells you that the blade is even across. Look at that. And I love shavings. I don't like shaving my face, but I love wood shavings. Alright, so that's it for now. Just like I said, a quick video to show you how to sharpen a planer blade. Lots of different methods out there. This seems to work for me. Thanks for joining me.